podcast. I'm Xander, and this is Jeff.
The Indie Credible. Out going nuts with the podcasting. It's easy, but nuts. Yeah, it has been a crazy week because after 3 months, we finally did a video game bullshit episode on Star Fox 64.
I saw that, and it's on you have a new YouTube channel for it too. We should let people know about that.
Yeah, so basically with the content, like we decided that doing a VGBS YouTube channel exclusively away from Hagen's Alley, like I've always done, seemed to be like a cool way to like preserve the legacy separately. Everything's gonna link, including this podcast, over to the Patreon page, the Hagen's Alley Patreon page, to consolidate everything. But yeah, there's some stuff going on, including also in the works the revival of the classic Switch Mania playcast, which is the Game Collectors, which is all about game collecting. So none of those podcasts talk about indie like we do, though. Not even touching indie games, but like the Switch Mania playcast has a huge following, so we wanted to keep that going. So we're still talking like new Switch releases, which is insane because I don't buy them all anymore, which is nuts. And they're like we found out Limited Run did 13 title releases in the last 5 days.
What? Oh, now, so are these like indie releases, or are these like the third party port stuff?
This is the Limited Run style collectible. No, like Switch releases.
Oh wow.
And then like Limited Run, it had like 13 releases. Like they're doing like Virtual Fighter. They're doing like crazy stuff out there now. Not indie, but some of the games are indie. But like they Freedom Planet 2, for example, which is an awesome indie game.
Oh, I love Freedom Planet.
Yeah, and the sequel finally getting the physical through Limited Run. But like that's the kind of stuff. That's the old Switch Mania playcast, and we used to talk about all of those releases. So now we're doing, like a swath of them, a little bit of them. But then since we buy like and collect tons of retro stuff, like it's a fun little venue for that because that's not really what the Indie Credible's about. But the other thing was, and I alluded to this on there, and this is something that can help us out here with the Indie Credible faithful. I bought my wife an X tool for her birthday that's coming up. And an X tool, and I didn't allude to it on the Indie Credible, but it is on the Game Collector. I am alluding to it on the Indie Credible. It is a laser etcher. So I can etch things. So think about cool merch stuff like the set gets that set.
Speaking of that, yeah, I took the patch. If you guys followed the Christmas episode, I got a limited Hagen's Alley patch. Dude, when you told me it was kind of limited, I was so scared putting it on the head. I'm like, I better not get it crooked. I better not mess it up because this is a limited patch. So
and ironically, like I didn't realize how many awesome people are out there because that patch went to people that supported the Complete Genesis campaign that had previously gotten another book. I'm like, hey, if you supported me, I'm gonna get you a patch. And so I did like 100 of them, and they're like almost all gone. I think I have one for me, and there might be a couple left. But like that's it. I thought I was gonna have extras so I can like give them away at shows, whatever. No, that item is limited, and it's completely like it's not a screen printed one, it's sewn. It's just a patch.
Yeah, it's a good quality. I don't know why, but when I wear it, I feel like a Pokemon trainer. I don't know why, like
a Pokemon trainer.
Yeah, but speaking of Nintendo and all that stuff, I do have to mention one thing, because by the time we have this episode out, because we record our episodes a little bit ahead of time, we might be getting some talks about the Switch successor. Now, I know we normally cover like indie stuff on here, but the Switch was such a powerhouse for the indie market, so it is worth mentioning. Like, how excited are you about this? I have some mixed reviews about it.
So it's twofold. So having previously owned a limited print company, not really limited print. We were an indie publishing company, and we really didn't want to limit the prints, but we were small, so our prints ended up being limited. And of course, as I mentioned before, I don't own the company. I do a little design work, make some strategy guides and stuff for premium edition games. I mean, heck, premium
Oh
edition
yeah.
games. But the interesting thing is that we still don't know if it's backward compatible with physical. And the reason why I say that is words mean things. And Nintendo said it will be backward compatible with software. They did not say that it's going to be cartridges or that it's going to be backward compatible with Switch games. I hope it is. I would assume it is. I have stated multiple times that if it is not backward compatible with my Switch cartridges, I am only going to likely go toward getting the major games for
Yeah.
the successor, and I'm not going to go down the damn rabbit hole. But if it's backward compatible, the rabbit hole goes very deep, Alice, and we're going to go into the Matrix all day long.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think this is gonna be an interesting console because I mentioned it before to some of my friends, but I feel like this is not going to be the wow factor that folks are expecting. But it's going to be exactly what if it's what I think it's going to be exactly what I want, which is just a Switch that's more powerful that
Yeah.
can do more. That's it. I feel like this is going to be an upgrade, kind of like a cell phone, in the sense that, like, you have your Galaxy 22, now your Galaxy 23. And I think that's going to kind of surprise a lot of folks because this is going to be a Nintendo console that is, I'm pretty sure it's going to have some innovation, but I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
have the innovation like we saw with like the Wii and the Wii U and even the Switch. Nintendo always has like and Nintendo might have a little thing that surprises me, but for what I'm seeing with some of the leaks and some of the stuff that they had at this recent showing with third party manufacturers that were making like Joy Cons and stuff like that, it got leaked. It just looks like it's going to be a better Switch model, which is going to be
I've
interesting.
seen like rumors that it won't be OLED, which I feel like would be weird because we have a
Yeah.
Switch OLED. So some of those leaks, I'm questioning the viability.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I take it as a
But
grain of salt.
I was saying back in the Playcast days, that Nintendo would go the way of the iterative updates and do small like updates to keep everything going because it's evident with Steam and Steam Decks and now Xbox going the way of, going on everything's an Xbox, that the systems and all of the programming languages are pretty much set now and that the games aren't upgrading to the point where we need a brand new ecosystem. So
Right.
the fact that it would be an iterative update to support some more of the modern games without having degradations makes sense. I hope that it is an iterative update that's on par with, I hope it's on par with the PS5. Not necessarily the Pro, but I hope it is. Everybody's saying that it's going to be like, with the Steam Deck. And I'm like, so if it just goes up to the Steam Deck, that Steam Deck is old tech at this point.
That's my thing too, because this is going to be it's going to have to be something that's like an upgrade for the Switch, but also an upgrade towards folks that have already invested so much in this handheld market. Because you got to think,
Yeah.
like 8 years ago when the Switch came out, that was all brand new. But now we have the Steam Deck, we have the ROG Ally, the
Lenovo Legion Go.
yeah, we have all these different options. So Nintendo's going to have to do something a little bit, which I don't think they're going to have to do too much. I mean, they just going to have to throw out some really cool, first party stuff that's just going to make us be like, I'm going to get one, because I want to play an open world Super Mario or something like that. So we'll see. But that's all I'd bring that up. Yeah.
Well, and then the biggest part is now we link it into the indie zeitgeist. And, the fact that the Nintendo Switch was such a great medium for indie gamers was awesome. And the fact that companies like Premium that I started and like Limited Run, who's now the biggest publisher in the world, bar none, the fact that, we could support them and get their games out there physically to make their dreams come true, plus create some cool stuff. I'm just hoping, and I'm hoping that they keep that ecosystem going. Because if you remember, the first indie console was the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And the reality is that, Xbox moved the way of Game Pass, which supports everyone, but then the indie games get lost from the big AAA titles. It's not as indie focused as it used to be. Because back in the day, Super Meeple is the Fez of the world. Like, we were playing indie. We were jumping down those awesome independent rabbit holes. And now, it's kind of went away. And it's the same deal with, the Switch's eShop. I'm hoping that the new Switch has a better eShop, but usually they're worse before they get better. Like,
Yeah.
it's I just hope that we're pleasantly surprised, and whatever gimmickry Nintendo does is cool, because they got to do a gimmick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Iwata
You gotta do something.
Iwata is no longer with us, unfortunately. He's the gimmick master, but I'm hoping they do something and don't just do a standard iterative update. Hopefully it's something that's interesting enough, like Rob the Robot, like the Wii U touchpad, like the motion controls in the Wii, like the Joy-Cons. Hopefully it's something cool, and not just Joy-Con 2, and that's all it does.
I mean, even the GameCube, it was like, we got CDs now, but they're small CDs.
Many CDs. And in reality, the GameCube was like Nintendo's safest console, because they went more overpowered than the other consoles at the time, because it was essentially the same tech as the Wii that released later. But they didn't do as well because everybody didn't go to Nintendo for power, with Nintendo for fun. And their IDs are fun. So as long as the Switch 2 is fun and it's backward compatible, if it's backward compatible, I'm going to go deep down the collecting rabbit hole. I'm going to continue to get cool stuff. And I don't mean I'm buying all the games now, because over the last few years, I've went on a buying halt, but I will continue to collect in the aftermarket for Switch. Like, that's the route I go. I'm doing that now for TurboGrafx. I do that for homebrew. I do that for lots of stuff. So I will continue to collect in the aftermarket, which works sometimes well. Like, I don't have to pay $40, $60 for every one of my games, but sometimes the game's $300, and I'm like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. You're talking PC Engine language right now. You know. I know it. And to segue from the Switch, because I'm going to get into a game I've been playing. We mentioned it on episode 8, and I had to get it on the Switch because I originally got it on Steam, and my mini PC that I was gushing about last week couldn't run it. It was slow. But thankfully, Steam has an awesome return policy. I was just like, yeah, it doesn't run on my PC there. Oh, here you go. So I took that money, went straight to the eShop, and I'm talking about Abathur. I finally went ahead and started playing it. The developer actually retweeted and shared some of our stuff on X and Blue Sky, so they're also listening. So I mean, this lets everyone know we're like, at this moment, like 14 episodes deep. You have no idea who's listening to your show. And, sometimes you may be feeling like, oh man, we're just not pushing enough, but you never know. You never know. And,
the thing is that, like, I've, since the new year, revamped my website. I did a bibliography. I'm at 30 book releases at this point.
Yeah.
I enabled reviews, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna put reviews. I probably don't have a ton. There's a lot of reviews from people that appreciate. So the thing is that my mentality with any content, anything I make, is Rome wasn't built in a day, and we're creating something now that's like a time capsule where we currently are, and we can go back later and go, hey, what the hell were we doing in 2025? And then we look at it, we're like, oh shit, we're talking about Abathur and how awesome that platforming game is, the action game. And in reality, we've already talked about this, and we need to play this shit online. The question is, can we do the Switch version? Is it crossplay? Can we do Switch online? Like, what can we do? Can we do it like that?
Well, that brings up another thing I was going to say, just in case you want to do this, Jeff, is they are making a physical. There is going to be a physical of Abathur, and it's going to be on Switch. So, I mean, if that's something you want to double dip as the developers listening to our show.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, is that usually I utilize playing the indie to support, so that way people know that you dig their stuff. Exactly. And when we dig it, yes, I'm going to double dip on it because I want to support what they do. So that's any of the games covering. Any of the games like we're covering that we have played significantly, like, I will absolutely buy that physical. Whether I buy it now or later, it just depends on where it falls. If I see it, I mean, we're talking about it, so I'll probably see it. And like when it's available, and yeah, what the price is on the if there's a crazy collector's edition, like what it looks like, and because I mean, I'm a physical packaging designer, so if I dig the packaging, oh yeah, I'm buying it for sure.
Yeah, it does have a really cool cover. Kind of makes me think of like Rastan, Gold. Like it was dope. I was seeing it, I'm like, oh man, but I had to play it, and it's great. It's a game though. I feel like I'm gonna have to dive a little bit more into mechanically, because I feel like there's a lot more than just hack and slash. Because I did notice that they added things like you'll notice when you play the game, there's always like a bunch of enemies. Like there's just so much to hack and slash. But apparently, when you beat the stage, those enemies that you slay and turn into souls that go and they put it on a scale of like skulls and all that stuff, and you start leveling up. I'm like, okay, so
There is a level up mechanic in the game, which is cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I was like, I think like the third stage is when it really started to open up. I started talking to like NPCs and stuff.
In classic me fashion, I have not had the opportunity to go back to it since I played it, because just always consuming new things and interested in it, because I'm getting working on the Indie Gaming Gems book. So like I'm gathering info, and there's tons of games. Like I was telling you offline just in chat that there was as many games released in the last couple weeks as there were in the last month. Like it's the beginning of the year rush has been insane with people releasing new awesome indie content. And there's even more than, I'm covering, because I'm picking out the stuff that really connects with me.
Yeah.
And then there's one other thing that I've been working on. So either I could talk about a cool thing that I've gotten that's indie gaming, or I could talk about something that I'm messing with in Indie Gaming Gems. Which should I cover, Xander?
I think the indie game. Let me get tongue tied.
Yes, Xander, scramble with us. Signing of it.
It'd been an episode without it.
Oh, I love it. So the jamming Jimmy Jams. With Indie Gaming Gems, I take feedback seriously, and I'm like always try to improve the show and my delivery. And some people were honest in there, and they were like, hey, so I like what you're putting out, but I want to hear more about what you think, not necessarily just about the game, because if I want to go back to the game, I'll just go to the page. And so I was putting it in my own words, but I was just talking about the game, and then I would say like one quick little off the cuff thing. So it all technically was my own, but so what I decided to do was I decided to go 50-50 instead. So the first part of the reviews now is about the game, and then the rest is from my own words, and I'm comparing it to stuff that I appreciate, because a lot of these games take inspiration. So the first episode of Indie Gaming Gems that'll be in this format will be the Community Picks one, the very first Community Picks episode. I recorded it this weekend, and it's like I'm going off the cuff on lots of stuff, and it was a challenge to edit out all my because I use that a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool as hell to do. So hopefully, people dig, the evolution of Indie Gaming Gems as I'm talking about these indie games. Because again, it's a little bit more from, my perspective. And, we realize like even with this podcast that pretty much everybody listens to us around our age group anyway. So, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of communities, because I did want to shout out some folks on our Facebook page, because we've been trying to post a new indie game every day, and I was
failing at that.
Me too. I was pushing a little bit, but I kind of faltered a little bit. But Justin and John, those two community members, they post some great games, and I saw some in there. I was like, oh, dude. I just go straight to Steam, wish list.
Dude, yeah, there was one recently they talked about playing the demo for. It's Crano. I don't know if it wasn't the Origins one. I think it was the remaster. But yeah, I had played that game a while ago, the demo, and that is an awesome Metroidvania. So you're like a skull with a skeleton warrior with a scythe. So freaking cool. And the demo's been online, and that was one of the ones that was posted in our Facebook group recently. But the indie game that I got in, kind of, you're talking Rastan and stuff. I don't know if you've heard of the NES homebrew game, The Adventures of Panzer.
No, that looks cool
So,
though.
so this was from a Kickstarter, Adventures of Panzer 3. This is the third game. They take inspiration from Mega Man series as well as, you got your action platformers like your Rostons and stuff. The artwork on this is super dope though. It's like little warriors and stuff fighting. And this release too, like they actually have a Lego set release with us.
Wow.
Like brick something or other, something bricks. And so I got because I didn't get the high end collector's edition. I got this little like brick guy from the main character. Super cool. And it came with lots and lots of stuff. It has a soundtrack in it, a poster, stickers, like tons and tons of cool stuff. And they're doing indie releases right. NES Homebrew, like NES Homebrew game. Pixelcraft did a lot of the publishing of it, and Dalen Retro Games as well. This is from a Kickstarter made with NES Maker. NES. So
That's
fun stuff.
yeah, that's awesome packaging. That's really cool. What a game that I wanted to talk about as well. That's it's currently free. Um, I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this in the link in the description because the website's like scparcade.com, like sparecade.com or something like. But the game's called Erase Invaders, and it's like Space Invaders, but as a bullet hell.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds cool though, like a bullet hell of Space Invaders. So essentially, like, are you like sitting there like scrolling back and forth and these tons and tons of bullets? And then the question is, are you limited or can you like move up and down like Galaga?
I think I think you can only move left and right.
Oh, that would give me anxiety.
But another game that I've been playing as well is Code Bunny. I've been playing that. The developers Team Seventh Star, they reached out to me like months ago when they were first getting ready to gear it up and put it on Steam because originally it was on itch.io. And they're from South America, and of course, X got banned in South America, so I had to, make my Blue Sky account, jumped on and reconnected with them, and it came out on Steam, so they sent me a code, and I streamed it the other night, because I've been trying to stream every Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, 10:30 p.m., and played Code Bunny, and it's a very Intel Crates inspired side-scrolling platformer. It really has that Gunvolt kind of feel to it. You play as two different characters. You either play as Hazel or Axel. I like playing as Axel. Axel is like on rollerblades, and you can kind of like bump into enemies, and it's got a cool mechanic with that. Where Hazel is more like, you shoot a laser and you press a button and dash into them. So it's got some really interesting battle mechanics, and
I'm looking at the trailers you're talking to.
oh yeah.
And you did do a Xander scramble, by the way. You said Intel crates instead of Inti crates. I love it. I love it. So what it looks like to me is it looks like you have a Mega Man combined with Celeste style platform. So it looks like you're like grinding through the level, like flowing like a Sonic the Hedgehog on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is rad. And then the boss battles look pretty damn cool too. And it has that really bright artwork. You got pinks in there and outlines of the characters, and it just looks very anime and cool.
Yeah, what I really like about it too, because the only thing that I would like say as a caveat is I'm not big into the cutscenes because the cutscenes have a lot of text.
Ooh.
And I don't, yeah, but they rectify that because they do have a classic mode. So if you play it in classic mode, it skips the cutscenes. So you do go level by level by level, and the levels aren't too long. It wasn't like super challenging for me personally until I got to like level 7. Level 7, it gets really, really kind of difficult. But yeah,
Is it because of the bullet hell aesthetics in there? Some of those bosses look like they're shooting a lot of projectiles.
you know, surprisingly, the boss fights aren't too bad. This level here has a lot of like dropping down a pitfall to go and like it would pan to the next, tile of the stage or whatever. It's like a weird mechanic. So like I was like dropping down and I didn't really know exactly what I was dropping down to. And sometimes I'd go straight into a pitfall. I would do that risk time.
You haven't played a lot of Sega Genesis games, Xander. It's okay.
I really did. I played a lot more Super Nintendo when I was so
Many Genesis games have like this learn and die and learn mechanic. Yeah, you just fall and die, and then it's like, all right, now I'm gonna go through again. I won't do that again. Like, jeez, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, you gotta learn the levels a little bit.
And it's fun though. It's got a pretty good positive score on Steam. I think it's like $9.99 right now.
Nice.
I would say like yeah, if you're like a Mega Man fan, you mentioned Freedom Planet. It's got that kind of feel to it, that Freedom Planet feel.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the game that just folks that listen to the show that know what kind of games we like. I feel like this would be right up their alley.
Well, and ironically, I added it to the On the Horizon, but you had already been playing it, so I was like, well, bump it up. It's one of the games that was released, and I'm like, oh, look at this. This is right in my alley. And I haven't had time to play it yet, but it's freaking dope.
Yeah, because it was released like mid like December, so it's pretty new.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Good people for sure.
Dang. Well, the only game indie style that I've been playing this week, and I really only played it one night, just in between working on stuff. Because also like I had a giant 70-page brief for work, like in the train I'm in, and I'm working on an assessment and writing papers. So like besides for doing working on books and doing cool podcasts and stuff, like I do have work, and you do too. And so but in between that, I did play some of Lone Fungus, which
Yeah.
such a cool game. It's been in my backlog for a while. It is a Metroidvania, classic style, and you play as a fungus, and the mechanics are spot on. They're great. You unlock abilities, like the ability gating is pretty perfect. Like it's going through the levels. There's a level map. You eventually get little icons so you can identify where you need to go because there's certain stuff that you can or cannot get. And I'm super enjoying it. It is a fun as a hell game. I do know that there was a sequel that was planned. It went to Kickstarter, didn't get funded. They went back to Kickstarter. I'm not sure if the second one got funded, but I'm hoping that they're gonna make it because I am still playing through it. But I've went through and I know in my first playthrough I got to use it to the second or the third boss. These bosses are like giant versions of like just like the enemies, and it's really cool to fight them. It's like a almost an endurance factor because they'll have a pattern that they'll do on you, and it's up to you to like just get through it and keep attacking when you can. And you can throw a couple extra attacks just to tank them a little and chance that you can maneuver out of the way. And it's super, super fun, especially if you've, played a game like a Hollow Knight and your skills at the Metroidvania are on par. Like that game makes you feel great.
It looked buttery smooth. The gameplay looked so nice. I watched the trailer and I'm like, oh, okay. I like how simple yet detailed the sprite work is too. I like that.
It's one of those where I have a deep appreciation for when the artwork like does something special. And I mean, Code Bunny, same deal. You could see, the life into the world. And Lone Fungus is simplistic, like you're saying, but it's a very alive world. Like it feels like you're part of something.
Yeah, like it looks simple, but it's not like simple as in like a mobile like cell phone game. Like it doesn't look it was just a simple to flash. Yeah, it doesn't look like it was just assembled in Flash or something. Like it has like character to it, but it's not like overcomplicating it for the sake of overcomplicating. Like it.
I mean, you're
looks
playing
great.
as a mushroom. You're playing as a mushroom. I mean, it's very, very, basic from a character perspective. It's not like you're the king of some crazy empire that's going to the classic fantasy tropes. It's like, no, you're in a spore world and you're going through stuff. And like the biomes that I've went to so far are all memorable and unique, and they have different aspects to them that are fun to play. And it is a classic Metroidvania, which I haven't played one in a little bit, so it was nice, and I'm going to continue to chip away at it a little bit here and there. Still haven't played any more Sea of Stars, by the way, but that's okay. I will maybe get back to that, or maybe I'm just going to continue down Lone Fungus, because playing that on my deck, on my Steam Deck, so that's the way I've been playing Lone Fungus. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah. And
Oh yeah.
speaking of interesting art styles, because I think it'd be fun to
Okay.
go from what you were mentioning and what we were talking about, like simplistic blah blah blah, to this like ballpoint pen game that you.
Oh goodness. Dude, that game is crazy. And here's the thing. Brand new game. It was released in 2013.
Wow.
2013. That's the thing. Like with Indie Credible Podcast, with Indie Gaming Gems, when I come across something, I want to highlight it. And this game is from 2013. It looks so freaking cool because it looks like something we drew on with pen and paper.
Yeah, is Ballpoint Infinite?
Yeah, Ballpoint Universe Infinite.
Yeah, this game looks
And it's
pretty cool.
It's like a shoot 'em up adventure game. So it's like a platforming adventure game. It has shoot 'em up aspects. And, it was made by Arachnid Games, has mostly positive reviews. The game looks intense, but all the characters look like they're pieces of paper that were animated on the screen with lush backgrounds and crazy. It's like damn Ikaruga in the background.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
like
really really cool.
piece of paper character or something that you would do while you're waiting in class in high school or junior high while you're a lot of teachers talking. And I'm making these ballpoint characters, and I just happen to make a giant Steam game out of it today. That's what it looks like. And the fact that this game is 12 years old is wild. And like I say, it looks like paper, but some of these enemy boss fights are like gigantic monstrosities. And the whole level is built out of that too. Like
It kind of, the art style and everything, and it made me think of another like early indie game. If we're talking about 13 years ago, this was like originally on the 3DS. Gunman Clive.
Gunman Clive, absolutely, it does have the same style. The difference here, though, because Gunman Clive was like all done like that, whereas this one, these backgrounds and the fire effects and everything are just like amazing. And I'm surprised that I haven't heard of this game before now.
Oh yeah,
like I don't know why. The little character, he looks like a little head with a mosquito. That looks familiar to me for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know where I've seen the main character, unless it's just a damn mosquito or something. But like, it just looks cool as hell. Some of the levels and the artistry on the different the levels, they look like something like that was in Hollow Knight. But this is well before Hollow Knight, so it's very interesting. But it says it's also a shoot 'em up, but there's platforming stuff. So I'm not sure if it's just more shoot 'em up focused or what, if it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, it's definitely that run and gun aspect. I liked it. Looks awesome.
Dude, looks so freaking cool. Yeah, that one I just came across within the last few days, and I'm like, Ed. Yeah, I just did a highlight. I didn't put every game that I found because there's too many.
There's too many. Yeah, and I mean there was some other games as well. There was one that you were showing that looked very old school, like top down. Like it looked almost like a Zelda kind of game, but a little bit more action packed. Web Hitodama.
Yeah, the Spectral Web Hitodama. It's a labyrinth style action adventure game. It's top down stick, like you said, Legend of Zelda. Your attacks though are like projectiles as you're going. Definitely has like map, which is great. And like I assume puzzle based exploration. Just because it looks like there's puzzle based exploration. Definitely dungeon crawler style of Zelda though. Every
Mhm.
every screenshot, every level I've seen has been in dungeon, so I'm not sure if there's like a Zelda style overworld because Zelda has that combination of the outside and the inside, whereas this looks like it's all dungeon crawling, and it looks so cool. Looks so
Yeah,
cool.
it looks like a old school NES game, you know?
Yeah, all for sure. And a 2023 game, developed and published by Avon Abstract. Avon Abstract, the abstractest of all evils. But yeah, it was released in June of 2023, or June, as Xander Scramble, November 10th of 2023. Definitely not June. Mm, but yeah, no, the graphics, it definitely has NES aesthetics to it.
It looks like a good it
Looks awesome.
looks like a good pick up and play game. You know,
Yeah.
it might have some aha moments like with the puzzles, but it looks like it'd be a fun game to just dive into for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, totally. And I mean, there's reviews in here too. Like some people say that they tested it and the game's excellent. Others say that it plays adequately, but they were looking for Legend of Zelda, so they were
Yeah.
looking for more of a story. Whereas this is more about gameplay. There's also not a whole lot of defensive actions in it, so it's meant to dodge and attack. So it's
Mm.
a puzzle game, puzzle solving game where you dodge and attack more so than there's like not really ways to protect yourself. So that's something just to keep in mind. But again, looks like a really fun game, fun as hell. Pricing is like $3, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Like, so for $3, not gonna complain or nitpick or go in the nitnoids on different pieces. If it's $20, $30, we're gonna give it a full, full scale analyzation of all the different pieces. But when you're talking a micro game or a budget for full game, because there's games that are $3 that are full games, not micro games.
yeah.
When you're going that though, you do have to have budget in your consideration.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Looks cool as hell though, man.
And this really awesome bullet hell that you put in the show notes. I'm like, and there's a demo for it right now. I'm gonna have to check out the demo. Um, I don't even know how to pronounce it.
If you say it without the weird character Astralbringer, but the A is upside down. So I don't know how you say an A upside down Astralbringer. But
But it looks awesome.
shaded Arcrium. Definitely a bullet hell shoot 'em up, horizontal style. Like something that could have been on like a tablet or something, but this is on Switch, and well, I don't know if it's on Switch, but it's on Steam, and it has like all the cool craziness on the side bars, so that way the action is free. So that way I
Yeah.
don't have a bunch of stuff obstructing your view, which I think is appreciated. The bullets are nice and pink, so you can see them all coming at you, which is awesome because if you ever played some of the classic indie shoot 'em ups from back in the day, like Last Hope, if you ever played the original version of that, you could not see the bullets, and they released a pink bullets version of the game for Dreamcast, for Sega Dreamcast. So yeah, this game looks awesome. And
Yeah. I was about to
looks
say
like a cave shooter. Like
I would say it looked like to me it looked like a Dreamcast game when I was watching it. I was like, this looked like one of those like, deep cut Japanese only releases for the Dreamcast. Like it has that kind of flair to it. I was like, man, this is gonna be great. And
and developed by Endless Hirafu. And it was released on New Year's Eve. So like of this just a few short weeks back. Um the franchise also has an upside down A, so so there's a franchise of this. So I'd be interested to see if like this is not their first rodeo. It is, because it's the only one that's in this category. But that means that maybe we'll see more in this venue. So if you play, this game, if you play Astralbringer, Shaded Arcrium, Arcarium. But if you play Astralbringer, and enjoy it and leave reviews and all that, they might make more, or maybe they are working on more.
there is, like I said, there is a demo. So if you're like, oh, I want to get my feet wet. download the demo.
So there's something interesting here in some of these reviews because there's only a few reviews. And I never thought about this, but playing this on PC, they say that the optimal way is to use a mouse to weave your character in and out. And I'm like, interesting. That would be pretty damn accurate. And because I'm used to playing all my games with the controller at this point, I didn't even think about, PC Master Race with the Toho project and being able to like I used to in college, weave in and out of the bullets, which was my favorite way to play those. Damn, I've been losing out, and I literally have a Lenovo Legion Go that's connected to a mouse. I've been using a trackball mouse on that though, so I don't know if the trackball is as good as just moving the actual mouse for accuracy. Interesting to check it out though. I gotta try it out.
And here I am thinking about like, 'cause I have an Xbox 360 arcade stick, and I'm over here being like, I want to hook my arcade stick up to it, and but clinkety clink everywhere.
I have an 8-bit though that I had got years ago for Christmas for my wife or birthday. And I play it, but I don't use as much as I should. That 8-bit design is amazing. Like I love it. And I don't use it though for those games. I just play with my analog stick, and I have the Super Nintendo analog, the 8-bit Super Nintendo SN30. Yeah, and that thing is cool as shit. And I just like my Super Nintendo style controller, got all the buttons. If I'm playing Sega Genesis, I'm playing with the Super Nintendo controller. I guess what I do. Super cool. Yeah. But stralbringer is another cool one. Like again, we are in for a treat this year in 2025 for
Just started.
isn't it? It's just infinite. It's so cool. Um, I definitely need to get my butt in gear so I can move on to the Indie Gaming Gems book because I'm still finishing up the bonus book from the Complete Genesis, doing all Sega CD and 32X. Almost done writing it all. I've almost finished it, but I got sidetracked by amazing podcast reinvigorations, which has been awesome. Making sure the Patreon is cool as hell because you got to do a transition because you can only do monthly on Patreon now. So I'm doing like cool shit tiers, so you can get cool shit if you support at certain tiers. If you're a producer, if you become an executive producer, we will shout out your name at the end of every one of these episodes. Every episode, everything that I do, I will shout out your name, even if you put your name as Poopy Mr. Butthole. I will say that at the end of the episode.
And I might mispronounce it. You might get a Xander scramble. Exclusive.
Oh, exclusive scramble, exclusive scramble.
People pay good money for that.
Listed, and also there is an exclusive Discord chat just for Patreon members. All the podcast co-hosts Anderson has access. Actually, I didn't have them have access. You didn't have access, and I was like, oh crap. Let me click it so that way you can actually see that chat. So in the Hagen's Alley chat, there is a Discord that's exclusive for it. I need to get the Patrons to actually start joining it because I hadn't publicized it. But as we release episodes, I'm putting them up as soon as they're up on YouTube. If I have the unlisted link, I'm going to do a post in Patreon so you have exclusive access to it, including this show. If Xander gives it to me, it's up to him. Because as you know, the Indie Credible podcast goes live on Mondays, but if we get it done on a Saturday, I'll post it up on the Saturday. Yeah. So the release schedule is very interesting because Indie Gaming Gems is every Friday. I've been doing some of the classic Phobos Militia hobby casts from back in the day from 2017 that I recorded with Kyle. Those have been going up on Sundays. You got Indie Credible on the Mondays. And then the Game Collector one is going to go up on Wednesdays. So it's like every day trickle throughout. Now some of these 100% like the Game Collector's monthly. It's going to be January 2025 what's collected. Whereas, Indie Credible here, we're talking weekly. We talk.
Yeah.
There's so much out there. We're talking indie games. So not everything's going to be the same frequency. And again, like we work, so I don't want to get burnt the hell out. And there also will be a time in the summer where I'll be moving from where I'm currently in Texas up to Colorado. So I'll have to figure out, it might just be recording and there won't be anything crazy with it. But I'll have my laptop too. So who's to say what I'll be able to accomplish? To be able to make some shit happen. It's good stuff though.
Oh yeah. I mean, man, I just can't wait until next week because every week we have a new indie game to talk about. And
Dude.
I've been slowly diving into Steam with this mini PC. It's limited. I can't do everything with it, but I can do a lot more than I could a couple episodes ago when we first started this. So, I mean, yeah, I just added all to my wish list, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I am going back to some of our older episodes and checking out some of the games like Abathor, Anna Lynn. I played that a little bit too and really enjoyed it. So yeah, I want to bring some new games, but also go back and be like, hey, I played that game that was over the horizon. It was cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've been sitting there just trying to knock things out, and I think this upcoming week, because the weekend I have 4 days off, so I am going to definitely do some game playing. I have an oral assessment, or I have to roll the dice and talk about some army doctrinal terms, so that'll be super exciting. But once that's done, I get to have some fun, work
Indeed.
on some stuff. And whether it's Lone Fungus or I jump on something else, the day that Steam Deck and Ducky Loader reinvigorates the deck roulette is another dangerous day, because there's nothing more fun for me than going through a list of 1,000 indie games that I own and clicking random and just seeing what gets thrown at me. I love that shit, because then I don't have to like randomly, because I want to play everything. Like, so I don't have to like, because it's scope creep, man. They have so many games. We have every game at our hands, and
Fingerships, yeah.
it's crazy. And then as retro gamers, I want to go back and play Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past again. And I'm not going to, because I got to play some Lone Fungus, and that's not a bad thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah, because you got the retro, you got the indie, you got the modern. I mean, because I'm trying to like personally like my gaming. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying not to get too involved with a certain game because I'm wanting to leave room for like a dragon, pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Like that's gonna be my game for a little while. So a lot of these indie games that are like pick up, play, quick and snappy. I can one and done. I'm all about it right now because I do not want to get involved with like a long term RPG or anything like that right now. I want to, I just don't have the time for it. Be honest.
What's wild is I've never played a Yakuza game.
Oh man, what's
And
crazy?
it's because they're too involved. They're like, to me, the Yakuza games are what I wanted Shenmue to be back in the day. And they look amazing. They look awesome. There's infinite shit to do. And I have access to all of them being a member of Game Pass. And I could literally my life could be Yakuza for the next year. And
Well, I
probably
know
get through it all.
I know next year, oh, not next year, or next month, I believe February is going to be the 10th anniversary of Yakuza 0. Like that was released 10 years ago. That's crazy. And that's really when the series started getting really popular here in the West. Because I mean, it had some, releases in PS2. My co-host in Excess Gaming, James Gruesome, he's the one that got me into the series. He was into it back, during the PS2 heyday. But zero was the one I started with, and that's the one I would always suggest people start with. Unless you're big into RPGs, you can go into, like a Dragon, Yakuza 7. You can go into that. There's going to be a lot of, character building and stories that you're going to miss out on that they'll kind of fill you in on. But I mean, that's almost like a soft reboot of the series because that's when it went RPG mode and it had Ichiban instead of Kiryu. But
Well,
yeah,
and like you can do the whole watch people play and gameplay or story synopsis on YouTube and cause yeah. And the thing is that the new game, I mean, I lived in Hawaii a year, so I want to play the Hawaii Grand Theft Auto,
yeah,
Yakuza fighting game RPG. Like
it is.
this persona, in a persona I want to play, and then they do dancing and shit too.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely a game that yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to get too involved with anything too long term because I mean I put like 60, 70 hours into Infinite Wealth when it came out, and I only scratched the surface. So
Well, and like I know Elden Ring is doing another DLC, and the last one was amazing. That was when I moved the last time, and I don't know if it might already be out, but I saw the trailer for it and it looks freaking awesome. And I definitely beat the last DLC, so it's like, man, I just jump right back in. Get absorbed again for another 20, 30 hours. DLC took 20 hours or 30 hours. It was crazy. It was so fun. It's so good. And it's like I don't have the time for that shit either, because like I like doing all the projects and all the fun stuff too. So it's like, man, do I make the time is the question.
Yeah. Speaking of time, I think this is a good wrap up moment. But yeah, be sure to join our Facebook. Check us out on Discord. Check out Jeff's Patreon as well. The Patreon's going to be like the best like way, because it is going to be like it's a hub, you know, that's the meeting spot, and then you can go down all the different branches of Jeff. You know, you got VGBS, you got Indie Credibles, you got Indie Gaming Gyms, you got
About retro, you want collections, you read books, you want to see some indie shit. Like and that was the one thing. Well, like as I found all the people that have been supporting me over the years, that was the one thing that they asked for, is one way to follow. And there is a free tier on Patreon. You can join it for free just to follow. You may not get the early access to some of the episodes, but you'll get the access to the episodes when they launch, and you'll see them all. And so, like, to get early access, though, it's less than a cup of coffee for a month. It's like $3 a month for the basic one, and you get to follow everything. So, that's like the least amount that they recommended and allowed me to charge for Patreon. So, because I was like, I'll just do $1. I don't care. And they're like, no, you have to do 3 for that. And I'm like, okay, so 3, 5, 10. 10, you're going to get a free book with crazy shit. Because I'm going to do an exclusive, like, wooden slipcase for a book that only executive producers are going to get. Like, crazy shit. Because if you're going to pay $10 a month and support, like, I'm going to do something fucking crazy. Like, it's going to be awesome. So, yeah. Patreon's going to be cool. And I've been adding to it. Like, every day I try to post something in there, just like I try to post an indie game every day in the Facebook page. And the Discord. If people start jumping into that, I will chat with you too.
Indeed. As always, guys, happy gaming and support indie.
Yeah. My eyeballs. Thank you, everyone, for checking out this episode of Indie Credible. There we go. Make sure you follow us. We have lots of stuff going on every week on YouTube on Fridays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you check out Indie Gaming Gems. That is the structured review/preview series about 10 indie games you may not have heard of.
And you can check me out, Xander Scullion, across the board. I kept it real simple for you guys. You can check me out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And, on my channel, I cover a little series called Play and Tell, where I talk about games I've been playing, leave little short impressions, mini reviews, and most importantly, when you walk away, you have something new to play. So you can check out my Play and Tell series. I also have some reviews that I put out every once in a while, and a live stream, which I'm really trying to commit and have a dedicated schedule. So that's more important that you hit the bell so you're notified whenever I'm live, because you never know. I might be live right now.
Yes, he's always live. Oh, always. And then, of course, I have all of my books at HagensAlley.com. You can check out. I've had like dozens of books published. I try to upload and keep things up to date with the latest reviews, the latest books up there, but they have to be in hand. So if you follow me on social medias, you'll see when the newest Kickstarter goes live, the backer kit goes live, the newest crowdfunding thing is going live. And as soon as you become a backer, there's updates that go out all the time. So we're always working on new books and new series and new things. Of course, upcoming, coordinated with this podcast, will be Indie Gaming Gems, which will be coming out next year sometime. It'll be fun time here for us in the indie gaming world.